Hey, it's Dr. V, Favorite Psych NP. So I know you didn't get to come with me to my presentation for Hispanic Heritage Month, so I figured I'd do it on here pro bono so you can see a career path for yourself, especially if you're someone that wants to work from home, wants to help people, and wants to have a financially rewarding career as well. So check this out and stay tuned. I'm Dr. Ramses Vargas, psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I assess, diagnose, and treat mental illness. The DNP stands for Doctor of Nursing Practice, and the PMHNP stands for Psychiatric Mental Health Nurse Practitioner Board Certified. This is what people imagine that I do as a psychiatric provider, that I sit down and talk to people and I have a fancy office where the aesthetic is pleasing and I have a clipboard. That's what I imagine people imagine of what an appointment is like. However, this is reality where you can see my private practice is on my right, where I make it very clean cut and, you know, comfortable for the patient. But you may notice I don't have COVID friendly chairs because they're made out of cloth versus my community mental health job where everything has to be compliant. So you can see those chairs aren't that comfortable, but they do get cleaned in their COVID compliant. So those are the slight differences you see, but overall the environment is close to what you can imagine. Here is what you can imagine, and here's reality. So I also have the ability to work from home, and this is my home space where I have this adjustable desk. I have my treadmill. Overall, you get the gist. You make it as comfortable as you want, and that's really one of the perks of being a psychiatric anything is that you're going to be able to just talk to people and you don't need to physically be there. And honestly, a lot of patients prefer being seen from the comfort of their own home, and they don't have to drive and they don't have to arrange for transportation and all these things. So anyway, I also share my practice, my logo, and the conditions that I treat and how you can get a hold of me. And I highlight that, you really need to take advantage of free promotion, aka what I'm doing right now is making videos and talking about things that are important to you and just really building an online presence. Now, if you can financially afford it, definitely invest in a company that will do all your marketing for you, if you have that kind of luxury. I also highlight though that I'm more than just a psychiatric provider. I'm more than just a worker, and I am also a husband, a family man, a person who cares about their community. And there's so much more than just your job. So I definitely do emphasize that, and that's why I share a picture of my family. I am a very private person for many reasons, but this is important to me. It's so important that I am happy to share that, I'm more than a provider. Then I bring it in and tell them where I was born. I was born in León, Guanajuato, Mexico, the capital of leather. So, this place you can come and get all your leather needs purses, belts, shoes, and it's high quality leather. This is where I grew up, and this is me as a kid. Right there, I was about 2 years old, and my cousin and my grandpa on my mom's side. So very special times for me. They owned a tortilleria where they would make corn tortillas from scratch, and the whole community would come to get their tortillas in the morning, at noon, and for dinner. So for me, it was nothing to go from our kitchen eating there to the tortilleria and get tortillas. Obviously, not at this age. I went back. I would go every summer to visit my family, and I would stay there for like the 2 to 3 months that the summer break was. So very special to me, very important, and a major influence in my life now. Also, another major influence in my life is my father. He definitely showed me work ethic and showed me, how to treat people, how to talk to people, and, really was a great model for me. And I think that's what most of us just really need is someone to model positive behavior. And the rest, we're going to do on our own. I also highlight that I played soccer since I was little, and I had a lot of trophies as you can see there, and it was more so about finding something that you're passionate about, a hobby, something you love, and really dedicating, some time and energy to that and growing and how important being on a team and working with others and losing games and really all these emotions that you feel when you play sports and really how they are able to allow you to use those moments later on in life. So I really highlight sports and movement throughout any time that I get the opportunity to speak. Also, highlighting the relationship with my mother, letting them know that it's important to take time for yourself, for your family, and for those that are important to you. Two younger sisters that are both in the medical field. One is pre med, and the other one is a nursing student. And I really highlighted them because they're more than just Hispanic women, they are more than pre med and nursing students. They're people from our community where we grew up and we went to public high school and public elementary school, and really took advantage of our opportunities. But I show this to show younger generations, kind of a future reflection of them, that if they stick to something and they are passionate and true and do it for the right reasons, it will happen, and it doesn't matter where you come from. That's where I share my story, that I was in California, is where I was mostly raised till I was about 7 years old. And then we moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, where I grew up and had a lot of friends there, and really was my early elementary school to about before I started high school. And then we moved to Arizona. And I really just highlight that for the students that I talk to, that it doesn't really matter where you go. You're going to have different opportunities and different connections. And you really just have to make the best out of the opportunities that, this place for immigrants provides. Showing me when I was a CNA back in 2011. And this was where I started really falling in love with medicine and helping people, and just started to become, the person that I am now, and highlighting nursing school, and just those silly pictures there. But it was really just to show them some of the things, some of the behind the scenes that we do. And of course, those awkward white tops and green pants, the ugliest colors you're ever going to find. My wife, and when I graduated nursing school, we were one of the lucky couples that got pregnant while doing the OB rotation. It happens a lot, so watch out, nursing students. But that happened to me and to my wife. So here I am graduating, and then here's a few years later, once I became a nurse and really started to embrace who I was and just became confident. I was working in a nursing home for a long time, about 3 years as a CNA. And then when I got my LPN, I worked there for a little bit, but the prison called shortly after I had started there, and they were offering me approximately $5 more per hour. So I took a chance and went to the prison, and that's where I really fell in love with mental health, talking to people, and helping underserved populations, where I saw a lot of people of color that were innocent or were treated very different because of how they looked. I also highlight again consistency, going to the gym. This you can't tell if you're not from the city that I'm from, but this was in our local gym. And I highlight that, whatever it took, even if I had to work, I would still go to the gym to kind of keep that balance in my life. I also put this Range Rover in here because most of us, when we get our first big check, we go and buy a nice car, and then we get indebted to that car. And most of us want to go buy a Range Rover, a Mercedes, a Lexus, all those nice cars that come with that nice hefty maintenance fee whenever you just even need an oil change. So I really just highlight this to just be careful and try to learn from others, and look at just that this is just a car payment that would just sat there. And there's so many other things that you could do with your money. However, I understand that once you get that first bag, you kind of want to get that nice material thing. But if you can, please don't. Line here to show the emphasis on movement continuing into my life as I've gotten an adult, and just really pushing those boundaries for yourself, because only you know what they are, and only you are going to know when it's time to go harder or pull back a little bit and rest. So I really highlight this to not show off, but more so to show how consistent and progression can really help you. I talk about my nursing career progressing when I decided to go to the next level, which is what I am now, a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And the school that I went to, just talked a little bit about ASU and how important it is to choose a program that can really help you, and really looking at what they offer, not just a degree. I highlighted my time at the state prison, and just really showed that bond and community from everyone within the prison walls. It doesn't really matter if you're a nurse, LPN, a sergeant, a canine officer. We were all in it together and we all helped each other in tremendous ways. So much so that I decided to write my doctorate DNP project on mental health training for correctional officers to help reduce violence towards inmates and also violence towards staff that work there. The way you talk to someone matters. And that's what I highlighted in my training. And it actually got published and it's up in the ASU DNP repository if you ever want to check it out. It's I think, like a 64-page read that I'm very proud of. I will probably never type something that long again. And hopefully in the future I can just dictate it or something. But definitely a step where it was a challenge for me and it was difficult, and I feel very prepared for new projects and new, you know, studies that I want to do later on in my life. But this definitely prepared me, and that's the difference in a DMP versus a master's program. Clinically we're the same, but as far as research evidence and applying that evidence into practice, the DMP is where you want to go, also if you want to teach. And here we are again, where I just showed the kind of the beginning to end and how we all, I came in just me and my wife, and we came out with three little babies and a doctorate degree, and now we have so much that it almost feels like we're rich. I always tell the girls we're rich. We can kind of eat whatever we want. We homeschool, so a lot of the time that we do is just valuable to me to be able to spend time with my kids. That's what I tell them is the wealth in being able to do what we want, wake up when we need to, and kind of make time revolve around us. I was getting closer to the end. Really wanted to point out that there are so few Hispanic and Latino and people of color that have an advanced doctorate degree, whether that's a PhD or a medical physician degree. There are very few of us, and I wanted to point that out and just show that we still have a lot of work to do. My people that are very financially driven, I just put the top 10 jobs that are growing, but I slid in the physician assistant just to throw something in there with healthcare, because pretty much everything that you see is chemical, mathematical, engineering, or some kind of computer science. That's the future jobs and the estimated pay rate. I told the students that whenever they're feeling down and they're feeling like overwhelmed and that they're not good enough or not smart enough, to think of our ancestors and the pyramid that they built, the Great Pyramid of Cholula, known as the largest pyramid in the world. And I told them that was our culture who did that as a Hispanic culture approximately 2,300 years ago. So when you're feeling down and defeated, just know that we come from a great place and anything is possible. So much so that when the Spanish came, they thought it was a mountain and put their church on top of it. So just showing them that, things aren't always what they seem. Again, with the history of America and where we were, where we're at, and where we're going. And currently, we make approximately 19% of the total population of the United States, but we are growing. And that's why it's important to share these things and build our community, empower our community, and not just flex the new car or house to show people what we got and they don't. Tie it all in, I told the students, if you don't get anything out of my PowerPoint, get this. When you talk to yourself and you believe in yourself and you don't use words like I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm not good enough, when you eliminate those words from your vocabulary, they change your life. When you truly believe inside and out, subconsciously, the super ego and the ego truly believe that you can do it, anything can be done. And that's why I really recommend a vision board, because you daily see that vision that you're creating and you see it and it just becomes a reality. I definitely believe that number one on there is the most important one. However, in this world, you need to network. It's who you know and those connections that you make. So I always say, try to be yourself, but also make sure that you know that the connections and the people that you talk to, how you carry yourself is going to be talked about. And first impressions, unfortunately, matter. And you need to make sure you protect those first impressions, because you're never going to know when you're going to meet your old boss. So give and also take, but make sure that it's balanced. And knowing that you're going to struggle, you're going to have to learn new things, and just going with the open mentality. And lastly, keeping these goals with a long term goal at the end that is achievable. That way, anything that pops up in your life and you say, hey, is this getting me closer to my goal? Yes or no? Then that'll be your answer to do or don't. So, thank you for watching. Obviously, you might have questions. So, if you do have a question, put it down in the comment. And thanks for engaging. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.